Yo guys, welcome to another RodaTalks. My name is Renan. You may know me from the previous episode or the normal podcast in Portuguese. But here today we have another super special guest. He's a two-time Olympian for Czechia and a Cardinals alumni. David Jessen, welcome to RodaTalks.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So let's begin with the beginning, right? How did you start in gymnastics? Because for who doesn't know, David's mother was also a very successful gymnast for Czechia in the past. And so I assume like the link is very close, but we want to know like how did you start, like, and when?
Yeah, oh gosh. I'd like to say that I started gymnastics from my mother's womb.
Yes.
But so yeah, I've pretty much been doing it my whole life. Like you said, my mom, she was a famous gymnast for it was Czechoslovakia back in her time. But
Yeah.
both my parents did gymnastics. My dad started when he was older, only did it for a little bit, but then got into coaching. So
Hmm.
so my mom, when she came to the US, she met my dad in a gym here, and they've been coaching ever since. And I pretty much grew up in a gym. They owned a couple gyms when I was young, so if I wasn't training, I would be jumping on the trampoline, playing around, and always in the gym. And I guess that's how I started.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Mhm.
And your mom is Hana Ricna, right? This is how
Yeah,
the pronounce.
yeah, very
Um,
good.
oh, thank you. And she got world medals and competed for the Czechoslovakia at the
Hmm.
1988 Olympics in
Hmm.
South Korea.
Yeah.
Did you feel pressure to get results like growing up uh, at home, like yeah, as a kid?
Hmm. Um, yeah, that's interesting. I felt like I always I felt like I had to do gymnastics, but I didn't. Well, it was more something that I wanted to do. In the back of my mind, I thought like, yeah, what could I have done something different? But I don't know if I would have wanted that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. I would say a little bit of pressure from the background, but I would say it was more of, something that I wanted to do than the pressure from the family. Um, so yeah.
Well, that's good because sometimes kids feel so much pressure to actually get the results because of the projection they make. But well, it's very good that your pressure comes from yourself. Like, I think it's super
Yeah,
nice.
definitely put a lot of pressure on myself.
Yeah. You also competed for the USA as a junior, right? And for Czechia as a senior.
Hmm.
Could you tell us more how this process worked? Because you're Czech,
Yeah.
so it's not a nationality switch per se.
Hmm. Yeah, I can tell you a little bit about my journey. So, um, in the US, you start competing in like the Junior Olympic program as early as 6 years old. So I started there in the compulsory levels, and I worked my way up. And when I was, let's see, I was probably 12 years old around there when I made my first junior national team for the US. And so I stuck with that, and I went to all the camps and everything, and great experience, learning from all of those other gymnasts and coaches, going through the USA program. So, um, that's never regretted once anything there. That I've always just, was blessed to have that opportunity. And then once I turned 18 and started competing as a senior, I kind of decided for myself and for my family that I would compete for Czech. So yeah, you mentioned my citizenship. So I was born in the Czech Republic, and that's kind of a funny story. So my mom, she she didn't have health insurance when she went to have me here. She was only in the US maybe 1 year when she had me, so she had to fly back to Czech, and I was born there. And then I don't know, I was maybe a couple months, and then she came back to the US. We were
Okay,
living in Florida there, yeah.
funny.
So yeah, so that was that. So I started with Czech citizenship and then had the American, and then I think I might have lost the Czech after, but then I have both right now. So I'm a dual citizen, also as my sister, and so yeah, so I had that opportunity to compete for both countries, and I did compete in one meet for the U.S. as a junior in Calgary, Canada, and that was a great opportunity. But then once I became a senior, I basically I had to email USA Gymnastics and said that I'm gonna start competing for Czech Republic, and I thought that was a great decision for me, and I was able to get a lot of experience and travel to a
Mhm.
bunch of international competitions a lot sooner than I would have if I stayed with the US. So, but yeah, grateful for my how it began and grateful
Yes.
for the way it ended. So,
Yeah, amazing. Like you competed in two Olympics for Czechia, Rio
mhm,
2016 and Tokyo 2020.
mhm.
And how were these experiences for you? Because they were pretty different games from each other, right?
Very different. Yeah. So, let's see. In Rio, so I started competing for Czech in 2015, and so I basically competed at all those international meets that first year, some European, some world championships, and then ultimately qualified to Rio. And I took a year off after I graduated high school before starting college to just focus on training for the Rio Olympics. And so I thought I was very well prepared. Um, in that year in between, I moved a lot around as a kid. I started off in Florida and then lived most of my childhood in New England. So I lived in Connecticut, Rhode Island, and then actually moved back to Florida for 1 year, and then in Pennsylvania once I started competing for Czech. So that year when I was training for Rio, I was in Pennsylvania with my coach Vasily. He's from Belarus, and then and so we went together to Rio, and that was a great experience. Oh gosh, how do I even describe it? It's something you always dream of as a kid,
Yeah.
like everyone says, I want to compete in the Olympics, and it's easy to say, but once you're actually there, it's a whole different story, and you just try to soak it in the best you can. Um, and so then flash forward 4 years later, that whole 4 years I was competing in at Stanford for
Mhm.
the men's college team, and everything was going well. I competed in the World Championships the year before um, to qualify for Tokyo, and I actually ended up one spot away from qualifying. So I was like the first reserve country, and it was kind of a bummer. And you were kind of on edge the whole time because something going to happen, will I get in? And you never knew until like right before the Olympics. And then everything even got more complicated because my senior year was when everything shut down because of COVID.
Mm.
So then, finished my senior year of school online from home in Pennsylvania. We didn't get to finish our senior season for Stanford. And then, I just stayed in Pennsylvania and trained, and each day hoping some good news would come. And Olympics got pushed back 1 year, and still, I was training without like that end goal in mind. Like I didn't know what was going to happen. I still got to compete at some competitions, some Europeans in there, but it almost felt like, am I training for nothing? But eventually I got the call about 1 or 2 months before that I can go and compete, and so that was a very exciting time for me, and so that Olympic Games, as you mentioned, was a lot different than Rio because of all the COVID protocols. So, everything was more controlled, shut down. I normally at the Olympic Games, it's this atmosphere that you're encouraged to, meet other athletes and, trade pins and become friends. And that was almost discouraged from this Olympics in Tokyo, like stay away, 6 feet, whatever.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of a downer. Still Olympic Games nonetheless, and got to experience the best I can given the circumstances. I wish it went differently, of course, but I'm still grateful and honored to be there and to say that I competed in both.
Yeah, amazing. Like we had an interview in Portuguese with Ricardo Buforin. He's a famous photographer in gymnastics, and he shoots like Olympics from like I think since 2004, if I'm not mistaken, or even earlier than that. But
Well,
and he said that these Olympics, it was sad in the beginning because it was like a shock for everyone. But then, as the time was passing by, everybody that was there understood. Like everybody just got this idea that we are here, so let's support each other. So he
right.
said he said that it was this kind of perception that something that was said at the beginning just got super special as the time was passing, and yeah, it's super nice. And for the Rio Olympics, you qualified, as I said, for through the test event, and therefore you came here twice, like to the city of Rio.
Yes.
How was your perception of the city? Did you manage to do some sightseeing or?
Yeah, no, I did get to go to some places. The places that I did see were beautiful. I got to see the Christ the Redeemer and what's the name of the mountain? The Sugar Loaf?
Sugarloaf, yeah, the
Sugarloaf.
Sugarloaf, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Yeah.
I love that cable car.
Yeah, no, it's so cool. And of course, the Copacabana beach is
Mm.
very beautiful. Um, so yeah.
And how was it for you also to compete before a Brazilian crowd? Because you're super loud. Like,
Well, um, how good, how you saying how good was in the
yeah, how did it feel? Because it's yeah, we see it's pretty different from other countries. Like here people like scream a lot.
Oh, the Brazilians.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course. They're so, it's funny you say that. I've noticed they're so passionate.
yeah.
Um, and to see that in person, like you say, yeah, they're yelling and cheering and always smiling, and it was just so
Mm.
cool to see, you don't see that a lot in other countries. Um, okay, maybe some college sports or professional sports, you get some
Mm.
really enthusiastic Americans, but like they're passionate, I'd say, no matter what, was whether it was sports or just in general. A lot of good people, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. You also mentioned that for the Tokyo Olympics, you were the first reserve.
Mhm.
How did you manage to keep yourself motivated through all this time until like you got a call?
Yeah, that's interesting. I, I basically told myself that, I wasn't ready to be done and that there was still competitions to compete in. And, you know, I wanted to go in and give it my all, no matter what would happen, because at the end of the day, something was going to happen, whether it got pushed back another year or what. But like I said before, I did feel sometimes like, what am I even training for? But I was still young and strong, and I felt good, and I wanted to go in giving it my all, and no matter what happened, and but I got to compete at other competitions as well, so it wasn't never for nothing.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I can imagine. Like, we also talked to Filipe Martins. She's a Portuguese gymnast. She actually had all of this COVID time to develop a new skill. to
Okay. Oh yes, I know Martins. Yeah.
yeah. It's
Uh-huh.
she does it on the uneven bars. It's super cool. Like
Hmm.
um, we talked with her like a few. Yeah, it was in Portuguese, but yeah, we speak the same
Hmm.
language.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, you studied molecular biology in Stanford.
Hmm.
It's not an easy degree, and it's not an easy university. Like, it's
Hmm.
one of the top universities in the US.
Hmm.
So, how did you manage to balance competing in NCAA as a Cardinal, which is also a very successful program in the US? I think, arguably, it's one of the best programs in the recent years in the US.
Hmm.
With studying something like super difficult, with like competing also with it for Czechia.
Yeah. Good question. Um, yeah, I wanted to take a step back first and I guess talk about NCAA gymnastics. I felt like in the past few years, it's been declining. It's been a little better with some new programs popping up here and there, but overall, we have only a handful of men's college programs. Compared to the women's, they have a lot more. So when I was getting recruited, there weren't too many schools to pick from. So I went on, 5 trips or so and went to different schools that I thought were very good. And, Stanford really appealed to me because of the good academics. And I said to myself, if I can get in here, then I'm going to go here 100% because ultimately the academics is what's going to help you in the future, get a good job in life. So, and I did get in. And so I went and, in terms of the biology, I wanted to do something that was going to help me get into medicine because I was interested going that route from, ever since high school, maybe even earlier, because, I'm fascinated by how the body moves and
Yeah.
the biology behind that. And I also really enjoy, talking to people, helping people. So I thought that the medicine route was really a good path for me. And so the biology was something that was going to set me up for going into medical school. And it was difficult and it was a lot with balancing school and gymnastics. But that was just something we had to learn how to do. We had to manage our time. There was not much time to do things outside of school and gymnastics, but those were just sacrifices that we had to do. My college coach, Tom Gleamy, he would say like, you really can do 2 things very well. And once you start adding in a third or fourth, then one of the other things is going to sacrifice. So I took that to heart. I said, it's school and gymnastics, and I would say my time was split pretty evenly. Sometimes gymnastics took over because it was an important time of the season, and other times school took over once gymnastics quieted down. But it was always a balance, and I would say I'm much better now because of that. I'm currently in medical school and I feel like I have so much time in the day because I do my studies and then I'm like, okay, I finished, now what? Because normally I'd go to the gym and train till night. But so that definitely helped me and set me up for the future and very grateful for that. Um, I hope that answered
Of
question.
course.
Yeah.
Of course. Would you say that the academic excellency that Stanford has actually played some big role, or like the gymnastics part was like the same or more?
In terms of getting in, you mean, or
Yeah, in terms of like choosing Stanford.
yeah. So I would say they both played an equal
Yeah.
role. Um, because Stanford's one of the best universities in the country, and like I said in my head, if I have a degree from Stanford, that's going to set me up for the future.
Yes.
And the gymnastics team had always been very good. And I had some friends that were on the team. I've known Akash Modi for a very long time, and he's um, you know, that was part of the decision too. I knew a couple of the guys on the team, of course. But they had, and Stanford had won before then, I think 5 national championships. They hadn't, when I got recruited, the last time was in 2011, but they had always been in the top 3 or 4 ever since then. So, you know, they were always very good, and any one year we could fight for the first place. So, yeah, I'd say both school and gym were equal.
Talking about the guys there, in 2019, you competed at the so-called Grand Prix in Brno, Czech Republic.
Yeah.
And you were with the other Stanford guys, Akash Modi and Brody Malone. How was this experience like? Because you told me that you guys were on holidays in Czech Republic and just decided to compete, or just like combined both?
Yeah, it was a combination of both.
Nice.
Yeah, it worked out really well. Here, I'll take a step back for the people who don't know what the so-called Grand Prix is. So it's a meet in Brno, Czech Republic, where I was born, and it's a mixed pair competition. So there's a guy and a girl that compete together, and their scores are combined. And I started competing that, I want to say either 2014 or 2015. And I had competed in that one for maybe 5, 6 times. And 2016 is when I started at Stanford, and I brought up the competition to Tom, our coach, and he's very supportive of international experience. Besides me, we had other guys, U.S. team or other international teams. We had some guys from Bolivia, one guy from Hungary, and so he supported us going and competing for our country, because then that just helped us be better in the gym and compete for Stanford. And so he liked the idea of the competition, and it fell over Thanksgiving break. We had 1 week off from school for Thanksgiving. And so the first year, my freshman year at Stanford, 2016, it was me and one of the seniors, Taylor Seaton. Me and him, I brought him over to Czech, and we both competed in that. And you know, he had a great time. He came back and told, you know, Tom how great it was. And, you know, ever since then, Tom enjoyed sending some guys to that meet. And yeah, the last time I competed in it was in 2019, actually with my sister.
Yes. Yes.
And then I brought Akash and Brody along, and, you know, they had a blast. It was a great meet, and yeah.
Yeah, for me it was funny as well, because it was the first international meet that I ever saw like in person, and it was super random because I went to Brno because of a law conference, and when I got there, I saw a sign, a poster saying that there was this Grand Prix going on, but I already knew about the Grand Prix like the previous years. Like I never watched footage because it's super rare. But the results, I knew that the meet existed, so I was like, oh, I know this one. Like I know it's international. So, yeah, I just managed to take some of the end of the conference to go there and watch you guys. It was all worth it. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, we're so happy that you came and saw it. It's a good and fun meet.
Yeah, and you competed with your sister, right? Who is also a Stanford Cardinal. She also competes for them. You placed third place, won bronze, and I think Akash silver, and Brody was gold. I don't remember like which one was which.
They're partners.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. I don't remember the partners.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it was me and my sister, third, Akash, and Aneta Holasova. She competes for Czech.
Yes, exactly. And Brody with the Jasmine mother, the
Yes, from Austria.
I remember Jasmine, but not Aneta. Good. Also in 2019, you homologated an eponymous skill the Jessen and pommel horse, right? At the
Hmm.
Doha World Cup.
Yeah.
So, on paper, it consists of a double-sided arch with a hip backward through handstand to the other end. It sounds crazy. Just for whoever's listening, it doesn't picture. It's just like you have to make circular movements on the horse with your fist, and then you go like from one side to the other and handstand. It's like super crazy, and it's rated D, right?
Right. Yeah, without any pirouettes. Hmm.
Yeah, super cool. How was the creative process of this skill like?
Yeah. So again, being able to compete at those international competitions
Mhm.
gives someone like me the opportunity to perform an original skill like that. And so I guess part of it saying that I have this opportunity, I need to do something. And then on the other hand, I had seen, I guess that idea, I guess I came up with that idea with the help from my coaches, the head coach and the assistant coaches at Stanford. And so I started playing around with it just in the gym. I saw some videos actually of some people doing it before, but never competed it. Because in order to make your own skill, you have to compete it at a world level competition,
Yes.
such as World Cup or a World Championship. And um, and so I don't think that I did it that long before I went to Doha to compete it. And it's a dismount, so
Yep.
I needed a lot of energy at the end to do it. So I actually did a easier routine so I could compete the dismount there. And, um, and I actually came up with that start to the dismount now that I'm thinking about it, like couple years before, 2017 in Montreal World Championships, I think it was. I competed that same thing to the handstand,
Mhm.
across the horse, but I was going down to a Busnari, and I wanted that to be my skill. And the judges, they said they wouldn't give me credit for that. They would just call it a Busnari, an upgraded Busnari, plus 1/10. But
Oh.
they said maybe if you do it like a dismount, then that could be your skill. And
Mhm.
so, that I guess that um, is where I got the idea. Okay, I need to do this. I have it. But it wasn't until 2 years later, 2018, I was injured with the shoulder and I got surgery and I was out for half a year. So it wasn't until the beginning of 2019 that I could actually go to one of those World Cups and compete it. So very cool experience to be able to say that. And I'm sharing in the code of points. I'm sharing that skill, that box with one of my former teammates, Riley Luce. So if you look in the code of points, you see both our names, Jessen and Luce.
Oh, nice.
Uh,
Fun fact, I didn't know about that. I just saw the
yeah.
Jessen. And like your mom also has a skill named after her in the
Yep.
code of points. It's a skill that we Brazilians we love it because it takes us to good memories of good bars routines.
Right.
And yeah, does it feel like even more special for you, like knowing that you're continuing this kind of legacy?
As my mom, sure. We joke around that like a friendly competition. Oh, I did this and you didn't. Oh, now I did. And but no, it's obviously it's much more than that.
Yeah,
It's to be able to say that, we both have a skill in the code of points.
super nice.
Mhm.
Next one here. Do you have any rituals to concentrate before competing?
Oh, rituals.
Yep.
Hmm. I would say, I usually just try to take it easy and not do much um, the night before, the day of the competition. Our coach at Stanford, Tom, would always say that, we have our routines that we do in the competition, but then we also have our pre-routines routine, like So even, leading up to the competition, you try to be just consistent, doing everything the same. And then, you get into a rhythm and you just follow that rhythm and stay in the moment. So I didn't have any special, you know, uh, I can't tell you exact certain things that I did, other than, I just took it easy, visualized routines in my head before doing them when I was there at the arena, and yeah.
Awesome. So now let's start with some shoot questions. So whatever comes to your mind first, okay?
Okay,
So a skill.
a skill, and I tell you a skill.
Yeah,
Uh, Coleman,
nice. An event.
Palma horse,
A gymnast.
Kohei Uchimura.
Oh yeah, he's like the god.
Oh yes, the goat.
A meet. It can be either college or elite.
2019 NCAA championships.
I feel like in a suitable way, I talked to Vitor Guimarães like
Yes,
in the first episode, and I just feel like this college meets have so much more energy than elite, but it's because of the team environment, right?
definitely. Yeah.
It's
Uh,
amazing.
mhm.
An arena.
Arena. The oh gosh, I don't even know the names of the arenas. Uh, I'll just go with was it Aquase in Rio? Is the name of the arena?
The one in Rio, like
Yeah.
the gymnastics meet, the
Uh-huh.
gymnastics arena. All right,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's super beautiful there. I was
Uh-huh.
never in that big one
Mhm.
in person, but yeah, the smaller one is also like quite nice, and it's super big. A gymnastics trip.
Gymnastics trip. I'll go with the Sokol Grand Prix with Akash and Brody.
Yeah, cool. You just like a friend's trip with a competition. Like,
Right.
what's even better than that?
Uh-huh.
An inspiration.
Um, my mother.
Nice. A food.
Food, goulash.
Goulash. Very Eastern European.
Yes, that's probably my favorite Czech food.
Yeah, very Czech. A hobby?
Hobby, sightseeing, going for walks,
Yeah,
with my wife.
it's amazing.
Mhm.
A memory?
A memory. Oh gosh, you're you're shooting at some hard ones.
It's the last
Uh,
one. Like it's the last shoot question.
yeah, I'll say recent memory. My wedding was over 1 year ago.
Ah, nice. That's nice. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. Mhm.
So I have like only three questions left here. So
Yeah.
we're almost in the end. Which lessons would you say you learned from gymnastics that impacted in other aspects of your life?
Yeah. I would say more than one.
Yeah.
Uh, One that I touched on before was the time management aspect,
Mhm.
being able to, especially in college, but even in high school, I didn't hang out a lot with my high school friends outside of school because I was in the gym. So, I had that time management aspect from a young age that I think maybe a little more mature than my friends. Um, so that helped me a lot. And then the other thing that came to my mind was just attention to detail. As a gymnast, we always try to strive for perfection. Every 10th, we can try to improve on. So that I think will help me and has helped me so far, and in the future, always trying to be the best in whatever it is that I want to do.
Amazing. David, what are your next goals? Like you are in med school, right? And
Hmm.
do you intend to get involved again with gymnastics, professionally speaking, or just like medical school, medicine, and that's it?
Hmm. Yeah, gymnastics has been part of my life for, since I was born pretty much. So it's hard to shut that out completely.
Mhm.
I would love to stay involved in any way I can. I have been able to coach here and there.
Mhm.
Uh, not nothing regular, but like here and there I do, and also judge a couple meets, younger boys, and that helps me stay involved. And I've enjoyed doing that the past couple of years. So if I can continue to do that, I would love to. It's hard with medical school because you don't know how it's going to be. I'm currently halfway through my med school, and then yeah, so I have 2 more years and then applying to residency, and then we're gonna have to move for that. And residency can be 5+ years depending on what you do. I'm currently thinking something surgical, maybe orthopedics. I'm a little biased towards orthopedics, I would say, being a gymnast. So, and then maybe one day, maybe I'll work for a sports team. Who knows? We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows what the future holds?
Hmm.
And at last, what would you say to your Brazilian fans, to your fans in Brazil?
Oh. Um, I would say bom dia. No, and
That's really good.
I would say um, thanks for tuning in and listening. I hope that um, they can take away something from this talk, and for all the gymnasts to keep chasing their dream. Um, and to work hard. You never know what'll happen, and yeah, keep chasing your dream.
That's it. David Jessen, guys.
Hey, thank you so much. This was awesome.
All right. So, guys, thank you very much for listening. We have David Jessen today, and we're gonna comment this interview in Portuguese. So stay tuned for the next episodes. And that's it. Thank you very much, David. It
Yeah.
was really cool, and it was really nice, like getting to know more about you. Like, um, when I was making the questions, I already got some better insight. But you're just an amazing person, and thanks a lot.
Hey, yeah, thank you so much. Till next time.
Until next time. Bye bye.
Bye.